Hi, this is Sherry from OurLifeHomeschooling.com. I have another fantastic mom interview to share with you today. This is my friend Liz. But before I do, we've had some exciting events happen here in our home. I was due with a little girl in April, and she was delivered on May 2nd. Her name is Holland Joy, 8 pounds, 8 ounces, and she is a real sweetheart. So I've taken time off my blog. Um, we've taken time off as a family to just stay home a lot, do as little as possible, and just hold her, enjoy her, just get to know and celebrate this new member of the family. So, this interview that I am sharing with you was actually recorded over a month ago. But because of just the end of pregnancy and life events, I had to put it on hold and wait and to be able to publish it. But I hope to be able to do a post sharing pictures of Holland and the family and bringing her home and talk a little bit about homeschooling with an infant because I've done that several times. Um, but let me introduce to you my friend Liz. This is Liz. She is a close personal friend as well as a cousin by marriage. She's been homeschooling for 5 years. And I love how down to earth she is. I love how simple she is. I love her kids. If you are someone who is thinking about homeschooling next year, maybe you've seen a lot of homeschoolers the past year. I know that we've had quite a few that have joined our co-op, and we've had a long waiting list. A lot of people have stepped out and tried it, and maybe you are one that is still thinking about doing that, but you are afraid maybe of failure or afraid that you won't know how to do it or won't do it right or whatever your challenges may be. I think you will find this interview with Liz to be really encouraging. She offers advice for new moms. She talks about how she was afraid to step out and start, but she just jumped out in faith, and she has been enjoying it ever since. She talks about some of the challenges that she's faced and how she's overcome them, and also how she found a good fit last year in classical conversations. And she talks a little bit about that and how that's affected her family. So I hope you'll enjoy this interview. Hi, Liz.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Enjoying this nice weather outside. It's such a beautiful day.
Yes, gorgeous.
Yeah, spring's coming and it just seems to make everything happier.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I like to start off just telling how I know the person that I'm interviewing, and we are married to our husbands, our cousins. So that's how we know each other. And we met, oh boy, how many years ago? Well,
Um,
Lucy is
yeah, Lucy's 10
so
and Brinley, yeah.
Brinley's 10. And you were married for a couple of years, 12, 13 years, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Liz. My husband is Aaron, like you said. We have 5 children. Lucy, who's 10, Galen, who's 8, Jesse, who's 6, Millie, who's 4, and then Gus, who is 1.5. We've been married for 12 years, and we started homeschooling since the beginning when Lucy was 5. So we've been homeschooling for 5 years. So not too long, but I feel way more comfortable than I did in that first year. I was terrified, completely terrified, to homeschool. So now we did a couple of curriculums to start out, and then now we do classical conversations. And this is our first year with CC, so it's been great. Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
I've heard nothing but good from people that have tried classical conversations or been a part of it for a long time. Yeah,
yeah,
everyone seems to love it. Um,
yeah.
yeah. So you said you've been homeschooling from the beginning. What
Mhm.
what made you come to that decision? Or you said you were terrified too. So what
Yeah.
made you convinced that this is something that you wanted to try?
Um, so I was gonna, okay, how do um, I think we've talked about this before, that fear played a big role in
Mm-hmm.
the beginning, and sometimes it still does. Um, but I looked at my 5-year-old, Lucy, who was 5, and all I could think about was, how am I gonna let her go to complete strangers all day
Mm-hmm.
to be taught I don't know what? Do you know what I mean? Like that, just all those questions. And not that it's bad, public school isn't bad, private school isn't bad, anything. But I just saw this little 5-year-old and I was thinking, how can I keep her with me longer? So that was my first thought. And then my second thought um, was, I have a really sweet friend. Her name is Christy, and she homeschools with her children. And I think at the time she had, she has 6 children now. At the time, I think she just had 3, maybe 4. And and I just saw how her children were, how they behaved, how they loved each other, um, how they were in public, all of these different things. And I was just thinking, I want that. I want to be able to spend the time with my kids. Um, I don't want to have to say goodbye. And I want to learn how they can be obedient like that as like a new mom. I was trying to figure it all out. And so that was one of the biggest reasons to jump into homeschooling for us, is I saw other people around me, specifically her family, your family, um, and I wanted that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't really thought about this in a while, but I think that was probably a big reason that we started too, was that I had just run into some homeschooling moms or families, and I just, I liked what I saw. I liked the close relationships they had. I liked the freedom they had. Um, I just always was impressed by the kids. Just, I don't know of anything in particular, maybe just their curiosity or
yeah,
their
their love for learning.
yeah, I think that just kind of stood out. And yeah, those relationships really, I think, are attractive when you see and you know someone else, and makes you think, oh, maybe I should try it. If someone
Yeah,
says to do it, maybe I should try it.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah, so you've been doing it for 5 years, which I think is a lot of time to be to you know the ins and outs of it, and you have had hard days you've been through, especially that first year where almost everybody quits. And it's so intimidating. And so especially I think it's special to talk to moms that are in the thick of it, who, like we were just saying before we started recording, who spend 90% of their time in the kitchen, where you're still just like working with the kids one on one. And
yeah,
so what experience would you have for new moms? I think there are, even though COVID started last year and a lot of people were forced into homeschooling, and schools are starting to open up.
yeah,
I've run into so many moms just recently that still are just really interested in asking questions, wanting to know more
yeah,
about it. What advice would you give to a new mom or a questioning mom?
yeah. I have a few. a couple things. Um, the first one is don't give up. Like you said, I have had my days where I see the school bus go by and I'm just thinking, I'm going to put them on there the next day. Like it's just been a frustrating day, and just we all have bad attitudes all around. But to not give up, to say tomorrow's a new day and we will start over. That's been a big thing. A friend of mine had told me, take it semester by semester. She said, not even year by year, take it semester by semester, because sometimes homeschooling isn't for everyone, but I think it could be for everyone.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling with this math curriculum that is just really, really challenging, then switch to a different one. You know what I mean? So that was always a comforting thought to me, that I don't have to commit to this for the whole year. If PC didn't work out for us, if classical conversations didn't work out, I knew that we had many other curriculum that we could fall back on. So just to not give up, take it semester by semester. Another thing that I wanted to say was simplicity. Work with what you have. One of the things, I have some resources that you were going to ask for, I think, in a little while, but one thing was Pinterest. Like, you can find so many things on Pinterest, but it can also be so overwhelming, because you see all these perfect homeschool rooms and all these fantastic ideas. And we live in a very small home that we love, but we do everything at the kitchen table, or everything outside, or everything on the couch. And so I think that's what I would just encourage anyone, that if you feel like you don't have the space, create the space. You know what I mean? And it makes it fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. About a year ago, we moved to a bigger house, and we have a lot more space right now, which has been a huge blessing.
Yeah.
But for 10 years, I don't know
Yeah.
how many years, a long time, we lived in a very small house, at least small living space.
Yeah.
And when by the time we left, we had 8 kids in a fairly small house.
Yeah.
It was, we were feeling it, but it's definitely doable. And we have great
Yeah.
memories there. I mean,
Yes.
lots of
Yeah.
great memories. It's special, and you spend a lot of time in close proximity. You have a lot
Yeah.
of difficult times, and a lot of times the kids are fighting and driving you crazy, but you also have just a
Yeah.
lot of good memories. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
I feel about that place. It's kind of special because, it was our
Yeah.
beginning of homeschooling and stuff. So,
Yeah.
what would you
Yeah.
say is your biggest challenge right now?
My biggest challenge, let's see, I have a couple of those too. Um, I think sometimes I just feel very overwhelmed. Um, we're homeschooling Lucy, Galen, Jesse, and then Millie's doing like a preschool, like pre-K thing. And I just let myself, I get carried away with, oh, I'm not doing enough for this person, or, oh, well, Lucy was reading way earlier than Millie was. Like, what am I doing wrong? And someone the other day, I heard someone say, like, everyone has their own timeline. And I thought that was so helpful to think of, just visualizing that Millie might be later with reading, and that's okay. But instilling that love for learning and that love for reading, and not having it be stressful for her, is so important. So I think that would be probably my biggest thing that I get challenged with. And then what I said before about, you're not stuck here in this spot forever. Like, it's constantly changing. There's new resources all the time. And just keeping up with prayer to ask the Lord for help, because
Right.
it can be overwhelming.
And
But there was like, oh,
you
go ahead.
notice that your kids are changing. So
Yeah.
I've noticed, like, what seems like a really hard spot at one stage, then in a year or two, it is nothing. Of course, then
Yeah.
you have another hard spot to replace it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it does. It changes. The kids change, and they go through, they get better at certain areas, and then
Yeah.
it's, something that seemed like a huge deal in second grade.
Yeah.
In fourth grade, you've forgotten about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about your community with Classical Conversations, because I know you said this is your
Yeah.
first year, but you absolutely
Yeah.
love it, and
We do.
I found it to just be a great support.
Yeah. So just to briefly describe Classical Conversations, because I had no idea what it was before we joined. I actually took a couple of years to kind of gear myself up because I just wasn't ready to jump in. I thought it was going to be really stressful and something that I couldn't handle. But it's kind of like a 3-tiered program where you have foundations, which is like the foundational aspect of it, which is the younger kids. And then you have essentials, and then you have challenge. And right now we are in foundations, and then Lucy is the only one that's in essentials so far. And we really hope that we can keep up with it as we continue. But we meet once a week, and it's called Community Day. And we are kind of introduced to the material for the week that we'll be studying. And it is just so nice to fellowship with like-minded moms and dads who love their kids. And it's a different way of learning, like a lot of memorization. But it's super, super helpful. There's like songs and things to help you with memorizing. And we took a trip to Williamsburg, Virginia this past semester, and we had so much fun, and it lined up perfectly with what we were studying with these.
So cool. I love when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So the kids are like singing all the songs that we know, and they're seeing like plaques with that person's name on it, and it's just coming to life. So it was really neat. But just the support that they have and that they offer, and I think that's the biggest thing, is having support. If you don't have support, find it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a make or break. If you have support, we've been in our co-op. Our co-op's not a Classical Conversations co-op, but we've been in our co-op for 12 years, and they are some of my closest friends. And
Yeah.
you've been places together. Literally, you go a lot of places together. Like you said, you went to Williamsburg. We've been on lots of
Yeah.
trips. Over the summer, every Thursday, we're at some natural, a park, or we're out creek stomping or whatever. And they're just my people. They're our people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you feel like you can do it when you're around them, and you feel like you're not alone. I think that's
Yes.
you feel like you're not alone, and your kids
Yeah.
make great friends. And I've felt the same thing. I feel like it is the make or break. Like, you may not make it if you don't have support.
Yeah. And if you don't have support right away, don't lose heart, because the Lord will provide. He always does, and he always will.
Yeah.
And that might come in different shapes and sizes. So yeah, I think it can take a little while, and just hold tight, because it'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can say that too, even for other things. There have been times along the way where we've hit some part, like maybe one child was having a hard time making friends, or just different different difficulties. And I remember just feeling like I didn't have control over it, and just bringing it to the Lord. And
Yeah.
I think about how many of those prayers were answered. And that, at this point, I can look back and be so thankful for having been able to homeschool them, and how everything has worked out and has been
Yeah.
good. And we do just love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can
Yeah.
see my light is going out here. I had a pretty bright.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, is there anything else that you had that you wanted to add?
I think I just had a couple of notes that I had written down. I think I had a scripture verse written down, 1 Thessalonians 5:11, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. And as I was like thinking about this and just preparing for it, and everything like that. We have a song that we sing to that verse, and that just came to my mind, and I was thinking that I think that's what makes homeschooling so special, is that we can encourage our children, they can encourage each other and us, and just build us all up, and within our community we can too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, whoever sees this, if anyone has questions or needs anything, I think you or I would be happy to. If I don't know the answer, I'll point them in the right direction.
Right.
you
And I
know?
think that is the biggest encouragement is talking to someone else who's just normal in the same boat, getting up every morning and feeding the kids and getting started and just doing it again. And, um, you know, it seems so ordinary, but
Yeah,
that's what's most encouraging when you see and talk to people like that are still doing it and,
yeah,
maybe hitting some rough spots along the way, but they've stuck at it for a long time and
yeah,
because they love it.
yeah, yeah. I've heard of some people just friends recently just saying like, "Oh, I could never do that," and I'm like, "No, you can.
Yeah,
Like, have faith, like you can, because there's like you said, there's hard days, but there's wonderful, rewarding days. The kids were, we went to the library before this, and they were all reading out on the trampoline, and I looked out and I was like, Aaron, are they all reading out there? And he was like, yeah. And I was thinking, this is what it is.
yeah,
That little reward.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Well, thanks so much, Liz. I really appreciate you sharing your story, your life, your family, and it's encouraging to me. So I
yay,
know it will be
thanks.
encouraging to a lot of people.
Well, you are very encouraging to me, and you've helped me through more than you'll ever know. So yeah,
Oh, well, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I'm glad.
So,
All right. Well, have a good
well,
night.
thanks. Yes, you too. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.